Well, then you have the rest of the building. So what are we gonna do with that?
Well, right now, we're not going to be renovating it. We are going to be putting that in next year's budget. We want to do one thing.
So now they're
at a time.
increasing taxes.
But we don't, okay, so then if you're putting that in next year's budget, we don't know what it's gonna cost us in taxes next year. We know it's $12 for every 100,000 this year, or a half a mil. But
We don't
you,
know either.
but you could put 5 mils in next year for us to renovate it, so what I'm saying is, you're asking us to approve or okay or give you our blessing to buy a building that you're not telling us what it's really costing. You know what it costs to buy it, but what's it gonna cost when we use it? So we don't have anything budgeted for it, so there's no plan. If you work on it for 2 years, you sure should know what it costs to renovate the building for your use at the end.
Okay, we do. We've
What
had
is it?
We've had an architect come in and look at it, but
What-
we are not totally sure exactly how we're going to place these. We don't have.
2
that.
years, you don't know what you're gonna do with
We
it
know
and what it's
we're
gonna
going to
cost?
do with it. Yes, we're going to use it for the police. yes.
Okay, but you,
a lot of that depends on the police chief also and how he wants to do it.
so he's had 2 years to work on this too, and he still doesn't know what he
It's not
needs?
that we've had 2 years to do a design for the interior of this building. No, we've been working on purchasing the property and
Okay,
getting
do-
different opinions.
Do we have an estimate, in hand to the township to renovate the building so it's as needed? Do you have that estimate?
We have an estimate from an architect, yes.
Okay, now,
Mr. Rokas.
okay, what's the estimate to get it? What's the dollar figure?
But just depending what we decide we're going to do with it, it could be $1 million, it could be less.
How much?
Could be $1 million, it could be less.
Oh, okay.
Another million, 2 million.
So,
Could've bought
so
the-
then, our mill,
But like I say, we're not going to be doing that this year.
So next year
you're
taxes are
asking
going up
us,
another 3
okay,
or 5
if we ran our business like that, we'd all be broke and you wouldn't get any tax dollar. Okay, we have to know what things are gonna cost us before we do it.
Well, you will know what it's gonna cost you when we.
You sound like Nancy Pelosi when she said we had to pass the healthcare bill to find out what's in it. Okay, we're supposed to know what's in it before we do it.
Yeah, we know what's there, we know it's a very valuable piece of property.
Okay, nobody's disputing
As
that,
Mike has
especially
already
me, Jane.
told you.
I'm asking what it costs. I'm not disputing its value. I'm not disputing it's valuable to you. I'm asking what it costs.
Okay.
Okay, and I haven't gotten a single straight answer other than it's a $500,000 this year. That's it. That's all we know. And we're gonna spend $1 million and we don't know what it's gonna cost us next year?
Well,
Then we're
we
gonna
have scheduled our payments, if you would like to see that. you're
That's to
welcome
buy the building.
Yes.
Okay,
When do we
but
listen to
you're
the
only talking
professional
half
over
the
there?
deal then. You're talking buying the building and renovating. So you're only talking about, you just said you have an estimate on $1 million, could be less. We never heard anything come in less, Jane, ever. Okay, so you got $1 million to buy it, $1 million to renovate it. Now you're at $2 million. Okay, best case, I'm sure. But
Could've bought the Pocono record.
there you go.
Well, you
With
couldn't
28.
renovate the
Well, how much-
Pocono
28.
record.
Excuse me.
How much would
and
you
how much
renovate
would
the
that
Pocono
cost?
record?
We don't have an estimate
Okay,
on
I think
renovating
we
this
talked
one.
about this
So
enough.
what about that one?
I'm gonna
Okay.
cut it off right now because I think we've talked about this enough. The same questions keep coming up all the time and I think that we've answered them. I don't know.
I asked about the budget. I didn't ask about the building.
I have a different one, Jane.
Yes.
Um,
One more and that's it.
okay. It seems that a lot of the questions are about the procedure and how this has come about. I know when I was a councilman, when we bought a tractor, we had a procedure if it was over a certain amount.
Right.
Maybe this is a question for Tim. What does the Pocono Township ordinance require of you from a public hearing standpoint, from a bidding standpoint, or procedural standpoint before you spend $1 million and possibly another $1 million to renovate? Which, be honest, it surprises me that you don't have a plan for the future, because that's, that should be part of the, the 2-year process you've been going through, is what it's gonna cost to renovate. Anybody can buy a building, if you buy a building for $1 million and it costs $5 million to renovate it, the building costs you $6 million. I'm just using that hypothetically. The building's gonna cost you $1 million to renovate, it's a $2 million building, not a $1 million building. But the point is what is the procedure in Pocono Township that's required? I heard referendum mentioned. Maybe if people know that you're looking for X amount of space, maybe, you put it out to bid and say, give us your options. What properties are available? What options are there? Have you really explored everything? You need to satisfy the public that you've explored everything. You're saying you explored everything, but there's a lot of doubt in here and a lot of doubt out on the street. And you're right, 11,000 people can't come to a meeting, but that's why you have procedures like
Pocono
that.
Township, like every other second-class township, is governed by the state law. State law on that is merely if the township supervisors find a building they're interested in, same as if I wanna buy my neighbor's house, the person's willing to sell it to them, they're allowed to buy it. The only limitation on them is that if there is only one appraisal, they can't pay more than the amount set forth in that one appraisal. If there are two appraisals, which there are in this case, they can't pay more than the average of the two appraisals for the property. That's basically the only limitation on them. As far as the renovations, however, that would have to go through a formal bidding process, that it would be a public hearing that would have to be put out to bid.
So no public hearing on the purchase at all?
No, the only thing there is, before they enter into a contract, it would have to come up for a vote, which they have to open it up for public comment. Not public approval, just public comment, which is part of what we're doing here. And then they're entitled to vote, but they would have to take action at a formal meeting, and then the contract would certainly be here when it's in final form.
And Tim, one last question on that. I realize that there were two appraisals done, but were the renovation costs or the functional obsolescence of the building part of those appraisals?
Those I don't believe, I think they were just purchased, strictly purchased.
Okay. You understand with an older building that might be a prudent thing to do. You know, again, we're talking about possibly as much renovation costs as there is in purchasing.
Yeah, and I don't know, Mike, what the took into account. Obviously, I'm not an appraiser on that. I'm not sure if that was in there or not.
No, that wasn't. Okay, but we do, like I said, we did have an architect come in and look at that, and he gave us a rough estimate of it.
And what was that again, Jane? I didn't hear you.
I think I told you before.
What was it?
Did you did?
$1 million?
Well, depending what we're going to do with it, he gave several options.
Who was the architect?
Okay, that's it. Okay, Jimmy, one more.
It's
That's
not
it.
related to the building,
Okay.
it's related to how the township runs, because I don't think any of us know this question. If we want to challenge the supervisors, or anybody would want to challenge the supervisors on anything, is there a procedure for that?
Well, I mean, if you feel the township supervisor is doing something wrong and you want to sue them in court, I guess, but the township supervisors are pretty much they're the top, they're the president of the
I
company.
understand that.
You know.
But like the auditors, there's no one for anybody to go to to challenge any of it.
On a business decision aspect, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's very difficult to challenge it. It's more, usually a challenge if somebody does something in violation of law, but for making decisions is running the business of the
Okay, I
township.
just wanted to know if there was any kind of forum to take this to.
It's really the only one really is a legal forum that I'm aware of, as far as the supervisors go.
Thanks for your answer.
Okay, are there any questions on anything else besides the ambulance building?
What's the fair market value of the ambulance building?
Pardon?
What's the fair market value of the building?
Well, we're paying $902,000 for it.
That's a split of the two.
Yeah, that's the split of the two parts of the two appraisals.
What is the fair market value of the building?
Right there.
It's right there.
Well, that's the average of two appraisals. One appraiser said it was higher, one appraiser said it was lower, and that's the average.
When was it appraised, the building? When are the appraisals from?
I think last year was one, and the year before.
Well, they're out of
Now, if
date.
they were 2
They're
years
way-
old, seeing that everything has dropped
They're
35%.
not, they're just a year, we just had ours done last year.
Have you had a recent appraisal?
I'm having it done, just to make sure, before we buy it, yes. Yes. I think, if you're talking about the ambulance, I think we
Okay.
talked this matter,
I just have a question. Who's your architect?
Bob Strunk.
Strunk.
Bob Strunk.
Is a copy of that available?
I have it in the file.
Well, can the public see it?
Yeah, just come into the building and I'll get this, I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Just come in. Like I said, it's a rough estimate of the,
Is it a written estimate?
yeah. Yeah.
Brian, Karen, there you go.
Well, is this on the ambulance building?
No, it's not.
No.
So So please,
Okay, that's
bear
fine,
with me.
that's fine.
So the frustration that many of us out here are feeling is, starting at the county government, the voters of this county voted down a referendum to finance a college. They voted on it. The government decided to say, we don't know what we're talking about. Here we are in another place, something's been going on for 2 years, and this is sewer ambulance, this is combined, this is not one thing.
Right.
That's our frustration. And I understand there's people out there that need stuff and want stuff, but there's a lot of people that don't, and they're showing up here. The people that want it should be here too, so both sides are heard. My main question is, with the retraction in the Pocono record of the 18 million, what is that number, reality? Is there a reality number of the interest that'll have to be paid? Was that just a
The
wrong
interest
number?
Not by the taxpayers, it will not have to be paid by the taxpayers.
That's my next question, but is there a realistic number?
Well, I don't know right off the top of my head, I think it was about
After all the
13 million
financing's in
or something
place and
like
all
that.
finalized, we would know that, yeah, I don't, there's no,
There's no way we can tell exactly.
Can I ask the township then, if RKR Hess is our engineers, can you please put a gag order on them? Because when I opened that paper and they put an erroneous something, if it was a Pocono record, I apologize.
It wasn't something like
Well, okay,
and it wasn't the reporter, it was the person who wrote the headlines.
it's just a very, and so, and I have your word that I won't have to pay anything for the sewer project down the road in Pocono Township, because I will not be hooked up to it living up on 715. I have that word from the township supervisor.
It will be the ratepayers, yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'd get that in writing.
Okay, I will, now we will go back to our SEO report. We've not had your report yet, Steve. Would you like to- Or Dennis, I mean, sorry.
Okay, since the last supervisor meeting, I've had one application for a well permit that's on hold because they're upgrading their septic permit from a 3-bedroom to 4-bedroom home. And the surveyor is working on redesigning it, coming in with a new application and getting a new permit for a septic system for 4 bedrooms, so I can issue a well permit. And then I can see they can process the we've got 2 septic, or 3 septic permits issued, 2 of which are for repair, 3 miles on the septic. Had a combination of approximate, I'll say approximately 3 per place this test, because one was a rather large one, done on Route 611 for a new commercial business that's looking to move into the area, which would generate some jobs. And like I said, I've had 3 repairs, and also the probes, I've done, conducted 6 soil probes, of which I think 4 were on their property with DEP, to validate the fact that the flows are gonna be around 1,200 gallons a day for the project. And I've been in 3 meetings, one with you, waiting, if you've heard anything yet on your design on the
Monday.
Monday?